Oh, sorry. I was talking the whole time. My apologies. Wonderful. Sorry, it is 7:01. I would like to call the meeting to order. And I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered this evening on the unceded traditional territory of the Coast Churchan Smak speaking people, and express my gratitude that I'm able to work, play, live, and learn on this phenomenal part of Mother Earth. Adoption of agenda. Trustee Last, Trustee Horn, all in favor? So moved. And we'll pass this on to Superintendent Samuel. Hello, Josh and Ellen. I'm super excited to see your presentation tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce to you the two members, Josh Joubert and Ellen Wright from the Interact Club at Charles Hayes. And Mr. O'Toole is with them, and I see he has a guest. And so I'll turn it over to Charles Hayes School now.
Okay.
Hello.
Yep, hi. As you've heard, I'm Josh Joubert, and we're both from the Interact Club.
Yeah, I'm Ellen Wright. I'm the treasurer for the Interact Club, and we have a presentation for you about our club.
Mr. Samuel, just checking to see if we're able to share screen.
You should be able to now.
Thank you.
So Rotary Interact is a Rotary-sponsored service club that gives young people like us an opportunity to participate in a ton of projects and help develop our leadership skills. We also get the benefits of being able to meet new friends. That's how it works at all Rotary clubs and Rotary Interact clubs, sorry.
So our club, we're Rainmakers Interact, and with the guidance and sponsorship of the Rotary Club of Prince Rupert, we started our club in September of 2019. Many of us with no idea what to expect, and right before COVID, and now entering our third year of Interact with Charles Hayes, our club has accomplished many worthwhile initiatives around our school and community, and we have taken part in many volunteer opportunities around town.
So we have a couple past initiatives we've done. Last year, no, this was this year, we donated $3,650 to the Red Cross Ukraine Humanitarian Crisis Appeal. We did an online bake sale auction that worked tremendously well. That was actually really good. One thing we did during the COVID times, like when it was real bad right at the start, was we created and streamed 100 episodes of Rainmakers Now. It was basically a little news show every day. And yeah, it was pretty sick. What? So we also made handmade Valentine's cards for seniors at the Acropolis Manor. We collect bottles weekly at the high school. We've done this, did we do this the first year as well with the Halloween thing?
Last 2 years.
So for the past 2 years during Halloween Fest, we've gone down and helped the Prince Rupert Special Events Society bag Halloween candy. We fundraised $1,000 for the Mother Teresa Foundation in India. We collectively filled Christmas shoe boxes for Operation Christmas Child, and we have volunteered in Rotary highway cleanups.
One of our main things that we did last year was the Seabin initiative, which started in October 2020. We received interest from the Prince Rupert Yacht Club, the Cal Bay Marina, and the Port Edward Harbor Authority. We hosted multiple community bottle drive fundraisers that had a lot of success and became one of our staples in the club. And we received funding from a lot of different local organizations. We were lucky enough to raise over $60,000. Sorry, the number is a bit altered on the screen. And we were able to purchase 6 sea bins that have arrived in Rupert in July.
Yeah.
And I think
Majority of them have been installed. There is some issues with certain areas, but still, most of them are up and running and they're working great. So currently this year, our main ongoing project is helping out at the Prince Rupert Wildlife Shelter. Is it once a month we go up there?
Yeah, or bi-weekly.
First Sunday of the month every first Sunday of the month, we go up there and we recycle all the bottles at the wildlife shelter. Nancy gets a ton of people dropping off bottles there and they can really stack up pretty quickly. We try to provide support around the shelter whenever possible, and we try and promote ways to help and donate to the wildlife shelter. Currently, one of our main projects with this is the owl naming contest. We are creating a community contest to name a new permanent short-eared owl at the wildlife shelter. The owl is going to be there for its entire lifespan due to it only having one wing. So has to have a name, I guess. So people can submit their names to our Instagram account or the Rotary Club's Facebook page, and it's going to end on May 15th. Another thing we're doing is there's a ton of bottles at Wainwright right now. So we're trying to go up there and get rid of some of those bottles, and we're going to donate those proceeds to the wildlife shelter as well.
It's it's really easy for anyone to join Interact. Everyone is welcome. We no basis to get in. We welcome all students through grades 8 to 12 to join us in brainstorming service ideas and providing service to our school and community. And we meet every second Tuesday at 3 p.m. in the Charles Hayes Secondary School multi-purpose room.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Yeah,
Thank you for listening.
we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. So exciting, all of your projects.
And Kate, just 1 second, I'd just like to acknowledge Bob Kilberry. He's the Rotary member at the special guest. Bob is really an integral part of the internet interaction over at Charles Hayes. So thanks, Bob.
Thank you so much, Troy and Bob. Trustee Horn?
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Josh and Ellen, for doing that and presenting to us today. That's excellent work. And you guys obviously get right involved in this, on the stuff that you do. I think it's fantastic that you go out and raise money for these projects and stuff that clearly motivates you to go and do that, right? So that's great. Tell me a little bit about the CBIN initiative. How does that work?
So last year we did the CBIN initiative. Basically, we ended up doing some research and we figured one of Rupert's big problems is due to being a harbor city and all that, we have a lot of pollution in our waters. So essentially the CBIN works by having a vacuum system. It dips into the water with a garbage can or whatever you want to call it, and it sucks in waste that is floating on the surface of the water, and it also stops. Does it do microplastics? I think it does.
Yeah.
It does it sucks in microplastics. With oil filters, you can suck in oil, and it generally just keeps the water cleaner. That's most of it, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellent work there doing that, because the oceans are very important to us, obviously, right? And any type of work that can help with that kind of thing is really good. And I really appreciate that you guys go out about and do that. So thank you very much.
Trustee Koontz?
I just wanted to ask the group, how do you decide on the different areas in our community? Do you vote on it amongst your group? Do you have input from, say, the Rotarians or teachers or anything like that? So where did you get your ideas, and how did you come up with the final groups that you're helping service in the community, which I'm sure they're very appreciative?
Well, we have many different subsections of our club. We have the service committee that mainly deals with all these types of different initiatives. We also have the International Understandings Committee that deals with anything really outside of Canada, like our polio objective. And we are a decently small club, so whenever we meet on our Tuesday meetings, if anybody wants to suggest anything, they are free to do so, and usually we can gauge interest right there, and if it seems like something our club really wants to pursue, we take action towards that at a later date with the help of our committees.
That's awesome, and it's just neat to see that once the group is on board, that you've taken action and made it happen. So it's pretty good. It's great to see.
Thank you so much, Troy, Bob, and Josh, and Ellen. Thank you for presenting, and that was awesome. Lovely to see you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks, Carla. Wonderful. So approval of the minutes of the open board meeting.
Last.
Wonderful. Trustee Last, seconded. Trustee Horn, thanks. And I just would like to note 2 corrections. And 11.6. Sorry, I think I'm super glitchy. I just wanted to note 2 corrections, 10.1 and 11.6. 10.1 noted Chair Horn, and 11.6 was referring to spring break, even though it was about BCSTA AGM. All in favor as amended? Wonderful, approved. Great, necessity of closed meeting.
Last.
Thank you. And Trustee Meyer, all in favor? Moved, thanks. Correspondence 5.2, copy to the board. 5.2.1, wishes of the board. Trustee Horn,
Receive and file.
seconder. Trustee Coots, would you like to speak to that, Trustee Horn?
No, thank you.
All in favor? Wonderful, passed. 5.2.2, Mike Farnsworth. Wishes of the board. Trustee Last,
Receive and file, please.
seconder. Trustee Kuntz, all in favor? Oh, sorry, would you like to speak to that, Trustee Last?
No, thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Passed. 5.2.3. Wishes of the board. Trustee Horn,
Receive and file, please.
seconder. Trustee Last, would you like to speak to that, Trustee Horn?
No, thank you.
Great. All in favor? Passed. 5.2.4. Wishes of the board. Trustee Horn,
Receive and file, please.
seconder. Trustee Last, would you like to speak to that?
No, thank you.
All in favor? Passed. 5.2.5 National School Food Program. Wishes of the board. Trustee Meyer,
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file 5.2.5 and 5.2.6.
seconded. Trustee Last, would you like to speak to that, Trustee Meyer?
Just to say that BCC PAC has put out a survey for PACs in relation to the new a national, or I don't know if it's probably provincial food curriculum for our lunch programs. And so if parents want to connect with their PACs and to fill out that survey, it would be greatly appreciated. And you can find it on the BCC PAC Facebook page. Thanks.
Thank you. And there's a motion on the floor. All in favor? Great, so moved. Thank you. Superintendent of School report, Mr. Samuel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 6.1.1, field trips. In your package, you will see that just a few field trip entries and one field trip that has quite a few trips here locally. Are there any questions about field trips? All right, 6.1.2, enrollment. For enrollment, Madam Chair, I turn to the Director of Instruction.
Thank you, Superintendent Samuel. Our enrollment went down this month by 6 students, 3 of whom moved out of our district, 1 of whom graduated, and 2 who I guess registered and then they didn't show. So I'm not sure what the story is about that one, so I'm going to look into that a little bit more. Yeah, so we're down a little bit this month.
And so what is our enrollment?
Sorry, 1820.
Thank you.
That's heads, not FTE.
Okay, thank you. 6.1.3 is hopefully the final COVID update. New guidelines have been issued from the BC Centre for Disease Control and from the Ministry of Education, and taking effect on April 16th. We are now somewhat cleared to resume normal activities. I want to say that we have a large number of masks still available and a large amount of cleaning supplies and hand sanitizer should the need arise. However, at this time, it is not a requirement. The new communicable diseases guidelines have been placed on the district website. You'll notice a change. They've asked us to now call it the Communicable Disease Prevention Plan. And that's that will be ongoing for a long time. It's a lot of things that they're asking us and the staff and parents and the community to still be aware of pandemics. And so health awareness, such as wearing masks, staying at home if you're sick, to help prevent infection, the spreading of infections, hand washing, and again with masks, all staff and students are free to continue to wear masks. And the ministry has asked that this be embraced and not discouraged, or students or staff should not be, we should be inclusive, that if this is a personal choice and people can feel free to continue to wear masks. Gatherings such as track and field events can continue. School assemblies, the full school can now meet, and visitors are of course still welcome back into our schools with the usual provision that visitors to our schools sign in, and we don't need phone numbers. The reason we have visitors sign in is if the fire alarm goes, the principal or vice principal or secretary grabs the sign-in sheet so that when the fire department arrives, we can say there are 202 students and there are 4 visitors who could be in our school, so that they have an idea of what they're dealing with. I'm quite looking forward to getting back into schools and that free flow of being able to walk the hallways and join students in learning events that are taking place in their school. .1.4 Indigenous Focused Graduation Requirement Survey. So the Ministry of Education has proposed new Indigenous coursework as a graduation requirement. Everyone is encouraged to go online and provide feedback for the proposed implementation. This includes students, staff, parents, members of the community. A link to the survey has been placed on the school district website and is also available at the Ministry of Education website. The full effect of the new graduation requirement, which is basically that students will be required to have 4 credits in order to graduate, will not be starting as an official requirement. It will start with the 2023-2024 school year. Now, Prince Rupert School District 52 has been working on this well in advance. And in fact, I understand from people who've been here for quite a while, they've told me about that we have been offering a number of courses that will meet these graduation requirements already. And so we will have more details coming out soon. And the ministry will be releasing more details after the public closure on the survey period ends, which is at the end of April. So I encourage everyone to go to the ministry website or go to our website and click on the link, and they ask a series of questions on what you think of their proposal. .1.5 upcoming projects, learning and other. So a lot of things going on as always, and this is only a very, very tiny listing of things. Our numeracy specialist, Carol Fullerton, is coming to the district on May 2nd, and she'll be working with a number of staff on whole class numeracy assessments. Rob Stiles from a group called Physical Literacy was in a number of our schools recently, showing kids how to play wheelchair basketball. And that was at Roosevelt, Conrad, Lahane, and Pine Ridge. Angela Roy also visited the district and presented songs and using movement through songs with a group called the Barefoot Caravan Interactive. And that was at almost all of our schools. Conrad in March had a home reading challenge, and Lahane had a field trip to Shames with grade 4s and 5s. And it's reported they had a great time and the students were very tired when they came back. Prince Rupert Middle School grade 8s, following the social studies curriculum, had their annual medieval fair. They had mock jousting, mock trials, art activities. They churned butter and were making candles. They made a beef stew and a vegetarian stew. And on the bread that they had, they used the churned butter that the students had made. Every class also made a house banner, and they presented handmade gifts to the Queen. Now, the Queen is rumored to be Carrie Levelton at this time. Charles Hayes had a number of activities, including learning about CPR and a presentation from Jessica Friesen from the community ambulance group. And they also had a talk about the naloxone kits. And they also had their first student focus group where they talked about racism. And that's the first of many discussions, both with topics suggested by the students and from staff as well. PCS, they had their mid-year learning plans, and this is where students meet with with the staff, and they twice a year have to revise their learning plan. They also went curling, skating, and had a career awareness talk about the fishing industry with someone who is local. I don't recall who it was. Oh, thank you, Madam Pond. We also, upcoming, we will have a University of British Columbia Okanagan campus community field experience student. Her name is Serena Slonowski. She's coming to present to our schools on May 13th. She'll be providing workshops for elementary schools, which includes Roosevelt, the French immersion students, and it's on STEM topics, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. Her topics will include the titles of Matter Matter for K-3 and Tomato Sphere for grades 4 to 5. She'll be using the excitement of space exploration to teach the skills of scientific inquiry. I want to attend. As well, we will have UBC regular campus. We will have field experience students who will be here starting on May 16th. They'll be here for 3 weeks. And then in June, we will have an elementary grad who will be coming to spend 3 weeks with us. And lastly, 2 very, very exciting events coming. The Pine Ridge Book Fair is April 21st to 23rd, and Conrad's Book Fair is April 20th and 21st. Madam Chair, that is my report.
Thank you so much for that report. Any questions for Superintendent Sarmoyle? So much fun things going on. Thank you so much for that. 7.1 Secretary Treasurer Report.
All right, the financial reports are on page 22 and 23 of your package.
Sorry, is it possible for you to increase your volume?
I will do my best.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the financial reports are pages 22 and 23. I didn't have any notes of explanation this time. I think it's going straight forward. We're trending well towards meeting budget by the end of the year. Any questions you may have? All right, page 24 is the operations department report for the month of March. Any questions you have on that? And the information technology department reports on page 25. And again, any questions you may have on that? And that,
Sorry, Trustee Sanchez. You are muted.
I was getting my computer upgrading, and I got some information in terms of bring your own device to the schools. And I was told that the board was making that decision, and I just wondered if that's really true.
I mean, generally in the district, bring your own device can happen. We do limit how much internet access they get, so we ensure that teachers have a fuller internet access when they bring their own devices. So there are separate rules if it's a private device versus a district device.
Well, I was a little concerned about that because I was thinking along the lines of there are lots of parents, you know, who cannot afford to bring their own computer to work. And so that's why I asked the question, because I feel that I'm not sure that they're ready. I'm not sure, especially now with the COVID and everything else, I would have a hard time with saying to families who can't afford to buy a computer, you know, to bring your own. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Committee reports. Finance and Building, I will, Trustee Meyer.
Sorry, I thought it was Janet. I knew Janet wasn't going to be here, and then when I looked at the board, I'm like, oh, that's Janet. That's not me. So there's the capital bylaw, page 25.
We first
Nope,
have a
page
motion to
25,
call three
Page
readings.
26.
We need a
Sorry.
motion to do all three readings at the meeting.
Oh, okay.
So Trustee Meyer, seconded by Trustee Koontz. All in favor after the third reading, or all in favor now?
After the third.
Yeah. all in favor.
You have to have all three readings, Kate.
Thank you. All in favor to have all three readings? Approved. Thank you.
Now, is it me that has to read this whole page?
You can read the first paragraph.
Lovely. Okay, here we go.
You don't have to read the whole, you don't have to read the whole page.
Just the
Oh, I don't
first
have to
pair,
read the whole
just
thing.
the first paragraph.
Please don't read the whole page.
Okay, here we go. Whereas in accordance with section 142 of the School Act, the Board of Education of School District number 52, Prince Rupert, hereinafter called the board, has submitted a capital plan to the Minister of Education, hereinafter called the Minister, and the Minister has approved the capital plan or has approved a capital plan with modifications.
And now you say read a first time.
Okay, sorry, read a first time, the 19th day of April, 2022. Doesn't say 2022 there, but we're gonna amend that.
And that's seconded by Trustee Last.
And then read a set, or do we have to do all in favor?
Yep.
Okay. Is that Kate? Kate, all in favor?
That's you too, Christy.
Oh,
but-
that's me. Oh, awesome. Okay, all in favor. I told you I wasn't prepared. Okay, and then read a second time, the 19th day of April, 2022. Seconded by Tina. Trustee Lass, sorry. All in favor? And then read a third time, passed and adopted the 19th day of April, 2022. Seconded trustee Lass. All in favor?
Discussion?
Oh, yes. Discussion.
Not that I have any discussion, but somebody might.
I can just clarify for you, this is more or less the list that you would have seen back in the fall when it was submitted. And now is the program.
So no, if there's no questions, then it's all in favor. And carried.
Thank you, Trustee Meyer. Framework for Enhanced Student Learning. You will find that in the package on page 28 of 34. And what I would love to share was we had two students from Charles Hayes in attendance, and they spoke so freely and openly about what their realities are, that it was a wonderful, it was wonderful to hear student voice. And it was such an honest, open perspective of challenges with curriculum, and challenges beyond. So it was a wonderful sharing. Great. Provincial Council 8.3, I see none. 8.4 Indigenous Education Council, none. And 8.5 Policy Committee. Can you do that, Trustee Horn? Is your internet stable enough? Wonderful, thank you.
I'll give it a shot and see what we do. I'd like to put forward for approval by the board policies 2330 and 5120.
I see seconded by Trustee Last. All in favor? Great, so moved.
And thank you. And then I'd like to put forward policies to send out for review is policy 1115 and 1210.
Seconded Trustee Last. Would you like to speak to those, Trustee Horn?
Is he including 53?
I'd like
or
to everybody.
8533 as well?
You didn't.
Are you including those, that last one, James?
I don't. It's not in my minutes here.
There's 3.
Oh, I only have 2 in my minutes. Sorry.
The third one is pandemic response policy.
Oh, 4210.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would just add, sorry, I'm not on there, but I was at this meeting as an observer, and 4210 is a brand new policy. It isn't a cleanup or an amendment to an existing policy. So I don't know if that would be separate.
Would be because it's not being reviewed. Yeah.
Thank you. So Trustee Last, you seconded that motion, correct?
I did.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to those 2 policies, Trustee Horn?
Yes, I'll just speak first of all to the 2 that I said. The second one, 1210, the student registration catchment area. I'd like everybody to be aware. This is a topic that parents are normally concerned about, as it entitles their students to where they go to school. Just want to put out there that is getting changed. I'd like to ask Cam about the changes made to this policy as presented to the committee, and were those changes made any substantial change to the way the policy would operate?
Okay, so I mean, the changes primarily are meant to try to do 2 things. One, the board's been moving away from a rationale, so it's reworked a little bit for that. And just to make it a little bit clear where the bullets were added in the middle. There is no substantive change to the policy. The regulation itself has a lot more detail, but they are driven by the actual school act So most of these rights and requirements in our regulation do comply with the School Act.
Thanks, Cam. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Right, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Wonderful, carried. Thank you. Trustee Horn?
And then the last policy, the 4210, the pandemic response policy. This is like Cam said, it's a new policy, draft policy for review. And the committee has agreed to ask the board to send this policy as presented to partner groups for comments. So I'd like to ask the board before that motion goes ahead, that's what the board would like to do. If Tina would like to second that, thank you.
I'm seconding it. And can you just elaborate on, you made that sound like there's something we might not be aware of.
I don't think so, but because it's a new policy, pandemic response policy, I just want everybody to be aware that what it is and that everybody agrees that that should go for review. Or does the board wish to review it themselves first?
I have trustee Last and then trustee Koontz.
I think it's okay to send it out to the partner groups for their commentary on it, and then it would come back to the board for us to look at. I mean, unfortunately, or fortunately, we've never had to have a pandemic response policy before, but clearly that might be just the future going forward. Yeah, so I'm okay with the board looking at it after.
Trustee Koontz?
Yeah, James, and just in the routine of recycling and revisiting the ones we currently have, when is the last time, if you have it, when's the last time we've had one brand new? And that's the reason why you're throwing the attention to it.
Cam would have to answer that. I don't think it was that long ago, but Cam could tell
I
us that.
think we had one in the last year. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but yeah.
So it's not very often. So just even making that aware, like if I was in the crowd or I was whatever, I would be thinking recycling, and it would actually be good to bring that up even in the board meeting. And even if you highlighted it when you send it out and say, this is brand new on the docket, and then, you know, you can be taking a deeper dive into it, because really when you're making it for the first time or any new policy, then it might have some deeper thinking to go into it maybe. So yeah, I just like to acknowledge when you have those, just acknowledge it would probably be a good idea that it's a new one.
There you go.
Thank you. Thanks, board.
So there is
So,
a motion on the table. All in favor? Great. So moved. Thank you. 8.6 District Technology Steering Committee. Trustee Koontz? Nothing? You're muted. Oh, nothing? Thank
Nothing to
you.
report.
Great. 9.1 Old Business. In-person board meetings. Is this to you, Mr. McIntyre?
I mean, I think really just wanted the board to have that opportunity to revisit the issue of board meetings. Effectively, most other things in the district have now returned to normal, what we would have seen prior to the pandemic. And it's an opportunity for the board to determine whether they would like to go back to in-person board meetings. We would suggest to be in the booth building in future, because it is a much bigger space that allows better distancing and better place for gallery to be.
Trustee Horn?
I'd like to make such motion that the board return to in-person board meetings.
Seconder? Trustee Sanchez, would you like to speak to that, Trustee Horn?
Thank you. Yes, I also believe it's time that the board return to in-person board meetings. That's I'm voting in favor of this motion.
Trustee Last?
Thank you. Knew it was inevitable. We've never had, in my years, we've never had as large a gallery as we have typically had tonight, notwithstanding, as we have when we've had our meetings over Zoom. I think I've heard around the board table a number of times, parental choice, parental options. And Zoom meetings really do give parents the opportunity to attend, but they're watching somebody over here or whatever they're doing. So I wouldn't want us to eliminate the Zoom option. I personally, for my own health, prefer the Zoom option. And I don't know that I would necessarily return to an in-house meeting, in-person meeting. But I'd hate to see us get away from board meetings in our boardroom. I get it, if we would be talking out of both sides of our mouth, if we're saying we have to have it in the booth meeting room because it allows for social distancing. Well, wait a minute, you just said we didn't need social distancing, so you can have it in the boardroom. And if we're at a point, that the boardroom is no longer the place to have a meeting, well, then that's a bigger conversation, but I'd hate for us to just, we'll go have it wherever. Booth may not be accessible for a lot of people, may not want to go there. So I wouldn't want us just to decide tonight, oh, yeah, we're going to return to in person and we're just going to have it at booth. I think that is a larger conversation.
Thank you, Trustee Last. And I do have Trustee Kuntz, but my understanding is that we would not go back to not a hybrid model of not having Zoom. And also this is an opportunity for us to record our meetings. So it wouldn't be in person, no more Zoom. My understanding is it's just the question of the board meeting in person. Is that correct, Cam?
I think all those options are open. I do think we did intend to continue having a Zoom broadcast from wherever the board is meeting so that it can be recorded and be available on the website as we've begun to do. One of the challenges of the current room is if trustees sit where they normally sit, it's very difficult to capture all of the trustees on the camera, whereas in the larger room where you can spread out sort of wider beside each other, you can at least get a picture of all the trustees more easily for that Zoom meeting.
I mean, I'm glad you said we would continue because that wasn't part of the motion to continue with the Zoom and record, etc. So perhaps amend the motion to include that.
Thank you, Trustee Kuntz.
Yeah, I actually got a lot of ideas on this. First of all, 100% hybrid, 100% change the motion. I would only be in favor for it to have it diverse and really have it open to all options. And that actually goes as a trustee too. We call in, we've called in for years online at different times. I mean, whoever, James has been in the field working, Janet, myself have called in numerous times. The only way we could make the meeting. Now being able to make it via Zoom, I feel like I'm here. Definitely feeling more engaged when it's on a video and I'm a part of it instead of being on a speaker phone in my hotel room. And then it goes on how you feel. At the end of the day, I have no problem as a trustee. I mean, I'd make a motion that our intentions are to have it back in the boardroom and have it as a physical thing. But if the needs that night, if you weren't feeling as good and you're not wanting to transmission a flu of any type of thing we just finished talking about, right? Even if I'm not up to it, but I knew I could attend that night via Zoom, I think that's way better than not having me attend and not having a full board. I believe our attendance as a board has improved immensely on Zoom. It can too. We've gone through periods where people haven't felt good, different avenues of maybe I was on the road. It was going to be hard for me to get a connection. But then if I could get to the Zoom and be a part of the meeting and feel like it, maybe I take that upon myself too. I haven't missed, I couldn't count on one hand what I've missed in all my years. But yeah, I think we can, my sort of thing would be make the motion towards that way, but it's not meaning that a trustee cannot attend via Zoom also. But the intention is to try to have it at the board table, and that's where face-to-face is successful and feels more a part of the group and the discussion. Face-to-face is definitely better, but yeah. That's all for me.
Thank you, Trustee Kuntz. Trustee Sanchez?
let me see. Okay.
You're good. We can hear you.
Okay. Well, for me, I feel meeting in person is it's a lot more personal. We get to look at each other, you know, and the vibes are a lot better. And here's the thing that I need to say, that the chair cannot see everybody in the same time, because I find that even if I have my hand up, you know, there, because you see somebody else there, it's always that person seconding the motion and not looking at somebody else. I see that it happens every time. So maybe that's a good one, but I like to see the faces. I like to see the responses. It makes a lot, I don't know, I'm just a person who like to see you, smile with you, and have a better understanding of what's happening.
Thank you, Trustee.
But I'm not against Zooming either. Just want to let you know.
And just before I go to you, Trustee Meyer, I would like you to know, Trustee Sanchez, I do see you. I just go with the first hand that I see up, but I see you all. Trustee Meyer.
Well, it just seems to me that it's the same people every time. So that's all. I thought so.
Quick.
Anyway,
We're quick, Louisa. I'm just going to ditto what Bart said. I point down because he's below me on my screen. I very much in favor of coming back in person. I know that there's some days that I am so thankful that we have Zoom. You know, I got a young kid, and if she's having a really awful day, for her to stay up until 10 really sucks. Most days I, you know, don't feel that way, but there's some days that I'm like, okay, thank God I can go on Zoom and send her to bed instead of her going to her grandmother's house. So, but that's a personal issue. And if, you know, but I would love the Zoom. I would love it to keep going. And so if we can do an amendment on the motion, I would be all for that. Thanks.
Thank you. And Trustee Last?
I don't know. I think I can see everybody's face a lot better on Zoom than I would be if I was looking at the board table. I'd be looking over here at Christy. Well, I can't see what everybody's on this side doing. This is Hollywood Squares. I get to see everybody. The only ones that's hard is staff, because there's 3 and they're tiny. But yeah, so when you point it out, it's like, yes, Hollywood Squares.
Thank you. So there is a request. Yes, Trustee Coons?
And I just, you know what, Christy brought that up, and it's back to flexibility. What are we all looking in the workplace? What are we all looking at, right? So I'm going to be in favor of the hybrid. I will vote in favor of it to bring it back to the board, but it is just one of those things where that would be, it's almost like what I'm saying, it's a preference, but not necessarily. We've attended by phone forever, and if a trustee needs to attend during Zoom that night, how about they just, you know, have the courtesy and email, so we're not looking for you, right? Where we're phoning at 6 o'clock, you email the chair and say, hey, I'm going to be on via Zoom today, and that's where it's at. You know that. So I just think flexibility is the way the world is turning, and we need to be more flexible so that we have that opportunity for everybody to participate.
Thank you, Trustee Coons. Trustee Horn?
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion to say that the attendance in person as well as a hybrid type meeting.
Thank you. Trustee Last?
I agree to the amendment.
Wonderful. All in favor of the amended motion? Wonderful. So moved. Thank you. And before I go to new business, I would like to say that Trustee Beal sent her regrets for this evening, and I didn't mention that at the beginning. So thank you. New business?
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Before you go there, that you amended the motion, but the motion itself was not voted on. The amendment was voted on. So the motion amended with a vote,
Okay.
but then they got to have the actual vote on the motion itself.
Yeah.
James is right. It's just we've never done it that way before. But yeah.
Wonderful. So please, can you tell me one more time what I need to do, James?
So Cam, can you read out the motion as amended, please?
Yeah, so the motion as amended would be that the board return to in-person board meetings with a hybrid Zoom option.
Thank you.
So And so that's the original motion, and I don't need to speak to it anymore, so we're ready for a vote.
Wonderful. And trustee Last is a seconder to the amended motion, correct? Wonderful. And all in favor? Great, so moved. Thank you. Thank you for that, trustee Horn.
Thank you.
New business?
There's none.
Great. Information items. BCSTA GM is this week, 21st to the 24th. Pro D is Monday, April 25th. 11.3, our annual budget consultation meeting is Thursday, May 5th, 2020. Please put that on your in your calendars. 11.4 is the board meeting, May 17th. 11.5, Pro D Day. It is already May long on our agenda. And 11.6 is Victoria Day, Monday, May 23rd. Now we are open for a 10-minute question and answer period. Yes, trustee Meyer?
I got a question. The annual budget consultation meeting, that's at 7, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought so. I just wanted to clarify.
Mr. Burrell?
Location?
It'll be in the booth building and it'll be available on Zoom as well.
Thank you.
Last call for questions. Seeing none, motion to adjourn. I'm waiting, Louisa.
I didn't feel like it.
So there.
Ouch.
All right, I saw trustee Last and trustee Koontz. Thank you all for tonight. All in favor?
Nicely played, Louisa. Nicely played.
Wonderful. So moved. Thank you, everybody. Take good care. And if you're traveling, be safe.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Oh, Louisa. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.